In this video, we're going to cover how to add SEO metadata to your Squarespace website. Metadata includes SEO titles and page descriptions to help Google and AI search engines understand the content of your website. We will cover what this means, factors to consider when optimizing these settings, and where to find them in your Squarespace dashboard. I'm Cara Wolf, Squarespace SEO expert and website designer and owner of Websites by Cara. Let's dive in. So let's first talk about what this metadata actually is. So I went ahead and did a search for plumber near me. Now in this example, I've scrolled down past the ads and the map, and these are what's displayed in the SERP page, the search engine result page. And what we have is we have a page title and we have a meta description. So there's two reasons to optimize your SEO metadata. One is when these results show up in a Google search page, what you say in the title especially, but also in the description, may help someone click your website instead of the one above it or below it. It's sort of like having a store on Main Street and setting up a window display to get people to come in the door. So taking the time to put in your metadata, your page titles, and your SEO descriptions can help with click-through rate, can get you more clicks on Google. Now, the other side of that is it's an opportunity to be really clear about the content that's on your page, be really clear about your brand, and also add some keywords if you know what keywords you want to rank for. And this can help you rank higher. Now, we know Google scans the metadata. We know LLMs scan the metadata. So taking the time to optimize your website, this is what we call technical optimization. We are putting in page titles and SEO descriptions for all key pages, posts, and products. This can tremendously help with ranking and also getting click-through traffic. So that's what it is and why we do it. Now let's go ahead and jump into my demo site. I'm going to show you where these settings live. And then as I go through and show you where to find these different settings, I'm also going to talk about how you can get the best result from the page titles and meta descriptions. So some best practices for you. So I'm here on my demo site, and this is the page you're going to see. You'll see your homepage when you log in and get to your website. Now, the easiest way to get to your SEO settings is to hit the / key. It's going to bring up search and just start typing in SEO. And what you're going to want to click on is SEO appearance. This option below, SEO AIO, this is what brings you to a setting in Squarespace where you can put in bulk page titles and descriptions and alt tags. But for now, I want to start with this SEO appearance because there's basically two ways we're going to go about this. You first have to do your page title and description for the whole entire site, as well as decide how you want the settings to be. And when I click on this, you'll see that there's some settings that you can consider. Once we do the site-wide stuff, then we can get into this SEO AIO and we can get into doing it per page. So for now, let's go ahead and click on SEO appearance. So these are your site-wide settings. Now right here we have search appearance, and this is for your home. So you can see Squarespace is automatically pulling from my site title. And in a minute here, I'm going to show you where that site title lives. So you can either have your site title can also be your SEO title, or in many cases, you probably don't want to use your site title as the SEO title and you'll want to put something custom in here. And then we have an area for an SEO description. And again, this is site-wide. This is for the whole entire site. It's for your homepage. Now for pages and items, so for pages, Squarespace is going to automatically pull the page title and then put a dash and then put your site title. So this is really critical because in this search engine result page, there's a certain amount of characters that will display both for the title and the description. So titles, in general, they should be 50 to 60 characters. Any more than that, it's probably going to get cut off. Descriptions, you want 150 to 160 characters. Now, the reason this is important is because if you only have 50 to 60 characters to optimize for your pages, having your site title in there is going to eat up a lot of characters. So for most websites, I will actually delete this, and the page title will double as the SEO title. And that way I have the full 50 to 60 characters. But on rare occasion, sometimes I do want to leave that site title in here. So it just depends on your website. In most cases, I just opt in for the page title. And same with items. This is like blog posts, for example. You're going to have the blog post title and then the site title. And again, in most cases, I delete this so that I have the full 50 to 60 characters when I'm optimizing my blogs. So once you've done that, you can decide, make a decision around if you want to keep the site title or not. If you are keeping the site title, you want to factor that into the characters. Same with the items. So fill all this out and hit save when you're done. Now that site title, I want to show you where the site title lives, because if you are using it in your settings, or if you're using it instead of putting in a custom SEO site-wide title, I want to show you where that lives. So we're going to hit edit, and you can do this from any page on your site. We're going to hit edit site header. And then if I click on the site title and logo, I can click the little edit button, and then we've got our site title. So this is where the site title lives. So if you have a logo, potentially you could put in a full 50 to 60 characters here, because the logo is going to display, right? So it can be 50 to 60 characters. If you don't have a logo, or if you don't have a logo, 50 to 60 characters is going to be pretty long. It's going to eat up a lot of the menu. So let's say this was my website and I didn't have a logo. I might want the site title to be demo site because it's short and it doesn't eat up too much of the menu. And then I would go into the site-wide settings and put in a proper SEO title that's 50 to 60 characters that's optimized to rank in Google and AI search. But this is where this setting lives. So when you change it in here, it's going to replace that little S symbol. So after you've done the site-wide settings, next is page by page. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can go one page at a time. So if I hover over any page in the main navigation or in the not linked section, we get the little gear icon. So if I click on that, we're going to get SEO. So on the left-hand menu here, we have SEO. Now here's the page title. This right here is what replaces that little P symbol in the site-wide settings. So if you do nothing, this is what's going to display in Google. Now, what I like to do is I like to put in an SEO optimized title both here and under the SEO settings. I like to put it in here as well. So under this SEO settings, this is where we have our page title, SEO title, and meta description. Now, the reason I like to make the page title the same as the SEO optimized title is on rare occasion, Google will take your page title instead of your SEO title. So my theory is, why not have the page title match the SEO title, and then you're covered on both bases. Now, this navigation title, this is what shows up in the navigation, and this has no effect on SEO, and this can be short, and it should be very to the point. So you can have an SEO optimized page title, an SEO optimized meta title and description, and that's all you need. And then you can leave, the navigation title can be short and simple. Now, URLs do matter for SEO. And so while this isn't part of the SEO settings, being able to come in here and change the slug is very important. So you want it to be really clear. You don't want to have any weird, service -123 or strange characters or copy or anything strange in there. You do want this URL to actually match what's on the page. If you know what keyword you're going after, if you have a particular keyword or key phrase, you might want to put the URL, might want to put those keywords in the URL as well. Having a keyword in the URL does make a difference. In general, the ideal perfect length is between 3 to 5 words, maybe 3 to 6 words in a URL. You can get away with 1 word, and in some cases, such as like a contact page, about page, a lot of times with the primary navigation, I'll just have a really clean URL structure, but you can have several words in there. So instead of just about, maybe something like about Cara Wolf, right? That might help my about page rank slightly better. It's a little bit more descriptive. It has my name in it, AKA some keywords. Now, you don't want to have a URL that's too long, so try to avoid anything longer than 5 or 6 words. And if you have a keyword you want to use and you can fit it in between that kind of 3 to 5 word range, great. But this is where this setting lives and where you can adjust that. Now, that can be done in every single page. It also can be done on the primary blog page. So we'll move into collections now. So that's how you do it on a page-by-page basis. So the next thing we're going to do is for collection pages, you have the opportunity to do the same settings on the main page, and then you'll want to go in and do that for each individual post. So again, we've got, our page title. You might want to title the blog something different, and we have our SEO settings. But the difference between a page and a collection is a collection, if I click on this, then I have all the individual posts inside that collection. So now we have the opportunity to do an SEO optimized title and description for each of these individual posts. And it's the same exact thing. So we come in here, instead of clicking on a gear icon, we will click on the 3 dots, settings, and we're going to get that same menu. So here we have the SEO menu on the left, and you can put in an SEO title and an SEO description for each blog. And here you can see that I have my blog post title, and then I have the site-wide title. So you can see where if you leave that site-wide title in there, especially if it's long, it eats up a lot of characters. So I do like to remove this from my blog posts as well, because again, I like to have the full 50 to 60 characters available for my blogs as well as my pages. Last but not least, we'll get into e-commerce. So we've gone over how to do the metadata, how to do the site-wide settings for the SEO title and description, how to do SEO title and descriptions for pages. We threw in a little note on blogs, and now we're going to go into e-commerce. So going into e-commerce, it's very similar. The main store page is just like the other pages. You can click on the gear icon and you can choose SEO title and description for the main page. But just like the blog, which is a collection, when you click on the store, we get a collection of items. And putting in the SEO metadata for the store items for your e-commerce items is slightly different, so I do want to go over that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on an example product here. Again, we click on the 3 dots just like we did with the blogs, only this time we're going to click edit, and the SEO settings are going to be behind the scenes here. So in this case, we're going to scroll all the way down. It's going to be under marketing. So another way to jump down to this is to click on the left-hand side here. You can click on marketing and it'll take you down to the SEO settings. So again, this is very similar. We have our title and description, and if we click edit, we're going to get the same exact thing. So again, I would recommend adjusting the URL. The URL structure does matter, and having URLs that make sense and match the title of the page or something with a keyword in it matches the search intent of that page does matter. So definitely take what's built in and change it, and then we can optimize our SEO title and description. And again, just like with blog posts, just like with pages, e-commerce items, I do recommend titling, if possible, titling your e-commerce product items with SEO in mind. Sometimes that's not always possible. It might not make sense on the front end of your store. And that's when this SEO title option really helps. It most of the time overrides the page e-commerce title. So when you're done, click apply, and that is where all of your settings live for that. Now, going back to what we saw in the very beginning, this SEO AIO option. So what this is this brings you to your main SEO page. So under website, the other way we can get to this is to go to SEO AIO. So it brings you to the main dashboard. If I scroll down, you can see here's that search appearance, right? So they've kind of hidden this search appearance way down at the bottom. This is your site-wide settings. Google Search Console. This will allow you to connect your site with Google Search. So what Google Search Console is, it's a free application by Google that allows you to track your performance on Google. It'll show you what pages are trending. It'll show you what keywords people are using to find your site and click through to your site. It shows all of the data of how you're performing specifically on Google search. It does not connect to any other platform such as ChatGPT, Perplexity, any of those other LLMs. It's just Google. But it is one tool that is built right into Squarespace, and I definitely recommend syncing your website with Google Search Console so you can see how Google traffic is specifically performing. Now, some other choices. One great feature that Squarespace has put in is there is now an option to edit your metadata in bulk and also edit your alt text. So this video specifically is about editing your metadata. So rather than going page by page, another way to do this is to come to this SEO AIO setting here and click on pages with metadata. You can see I've got 17 pages missing, and I'll click on this, say okay, and it's going to allow me to do this in bulk. And it's also going to start me off with some AI generated stuff. So what we've got here is Squarespace is using their AI feature to put this in for me. So I can either regenerate and get a different idea from AI. I can click edit and put my own choices in there. Or I can take all this at face value and just say next. And all of a sudden, I've got all of my pages with metadata. Now, the same thing goes for alt text. Technically, this video is just about metadata, but alt text is a form of metadata. So alt text is for the images. When you have an image on your site, there's an area for alt text. And what the alt text does is it does two things. One is it essentially describes to Google what the image is. So Google uses it for accessibility for people that are using screen readers and certain accessibility tools. Google relies on the alt text to describe the image to the viewer. So alt text does need to be written ideally in a way where if someone was using a screen reader, it would make sense. You do want to describe the image and you want the alt text to make sense for people that are using accessibility tools, but you can write that kind of alt text and still slip in a keyword, still slip in a few words that have very specific brand positioning and speak about your business in a particular way. And that can help Google and these AI search engines better understand your business. So again, you can go page by page and fill in alt text one at a time, or you can go ahead and click on these bulk settings and it's going to do the same thing as it did before. We're going to get AI generated suggestions and then we're going to get the opportunity to edit it. And let me try that again. It brought up the same thing as before. All right, so it's not working right now. I'd have to refresh my screen and it would probably bring up all the images instead of the metadata, but it should work for you. So to recap this video, we talked about what metadata is and why it matters. So I showed you the search engine result page and where some of this is going to show up in real life. We gave some suggestions, so that 50 to 60 characters for titles and 150 to 160 characters for descriptions. We went through how to find your SEO titles for the whole entire site wide, right? So you can either hit the slash key and go and search and do search SEO appearance. That'll bring you down to the settings that are right here. So we talked about setting that up site-wide. We talked about where to find your site title because that shows up in the site-wide settings and I think drives a few people crazy trying to figure out where that lives. And then we talked about just editing metadata throughout your site. So titles, descriptions, URLs, and threw in a little bit about alt text as well. If this video helped you, like it, subscribe to my channel, and I'll put further research and resource links below.